Well, hello everyone and welcome. Welcome to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on voiceamericamedia.com. I'm very proud to say we're in our 24th year here on Voice America. I've done many programs on many networks, but I've stayed consistent with my show with Voice America. This is the program that shows you how to turn your problems into solutions and your obstacles into opportunities and make your dreams come true. We have a great guest on today who is a self-leadership and personal power expert. Her name is Randi Halaway. She's also a speaker and coach who helps leaders and entrepreneurs and visionaries step into alignment, clarity, and freedom. She's the creator of the Personal Power Way, a heart centered framework that guides people to navigate their blocks, regulate their nervous system, and lead with authenticity and grounded confidence. An entrepreneur for more than 2 decades, Randi began her career as a hairstylist and salon owner in San Diego before transitioning fully into coaching in 2016. Her own journey of reinvention through business ownership, divorce, and personal growth fuels her mission to help others break free from their illusion of not enough and reclaim their power. Through her speaking, coaching, and workshops, Randi empowers leaders at every level to take radical responsibility for their choices, to embody their worth, and create lives and businesses that reflect their deepest truth. Welcome, Randi.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Talk about the transition from being a salon owner. And I often think when I go to the salon, and I think often of beauticians or people who are hairstylists, we often tell our hairstylists so much. They're like our therapists. And I'm wondering if that was kind of a catalyst from people sitting in your chair, to get their hair done, to now sitting in the chair, getting some wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a connection there. So I was actually raised by a coach and a speaker and an author. So I had been in the coaching space my whole life. And as I started doing hair, I naturally started coaching people and listening to their problems and giving them guidance. It kind of just started naturally happening. So I did hair for about 17 years and I did that. And then when I had my salon, I had that for about 5.5. I naturally started creating coaching programs for my employees, where I would meet with them every week and just naturally started helping them through building their businesses, but also navigating the challenges that were happening in their lives. And so, yeah, there was definitely something was already inside of me for a very long time. And at some point, I started asking myself, like, what am I actually the most passionate about? I loved doing hair. I loved having the salon. I loved leading people. But I realized that I was the most passionate about helping women really remember who they were, learning how to have a better relationship with themselves, learning how to love themselves, make higher level, more empowered choices. And so that's when I made the choice to sell my salon, which is a whole other story and adventure, and start coaching full time.
Yeah. Was there anything in common from the people who you worked with who sat in your chair and talked to you? Were there common themes?
Absolutely. I think across the board, my whole career, the themes typically come down to people not feeling good enough, feeling anxious, feeling chaotic in these cycles that they go through in their life, but ultimately coming back to, gosh, I want to have a more peaceful life. I want to have a more abundant life. I want to have real love. But somehow I keep attracting something different. And
Mm,
typically the core wound has to do with, we can only receive what we feel ultimately worthy of. And so
mm,
I noticed a huge um, consistency in people just not feeling worthy of receiving the life of their dreams. And so that ended up being something that, I was on my own path with as well, and now help a lot of people with.
yeah. Do you think that came from just their upbringing, their childhood, their own concept of themselves?
Yes, yes, and yes. I think that depending on your upbringing, that's definitely going to play a role. I think societal things can play a role, some of the pressures that happen throughout life. And I think what I have found in my journey, I've worked with a lot of people at this point, is it just seems to be a common theme of again, gosh, I want that thing, but I don't know. Have I earned it enough? Am I worthy enough of it? Have I worked hard enough, even with money? Abundance, it's like we've got this hustle culture and you got to work your 16 hours and you got to earn. And while there could be value in that, I think at some point, I think we've sort of pendulum swung that where it's like, is it okay that we just did our part and now it's time to receive, And so that's part of the programming that I help people with is like, does it have to be so hard? Do we have to hustle so hard? Do we have to work so hard? Do we have to sacrifice ourselves in order to receive something of a higher value? And I have found that the answer is no, we don't have to do that unless we choose to. We all have free
Mm-hmm.
will to do that.
Right.
Um, but wherever you're choosing to create from, whether it's more of that hustle, grind, I need to prove, I need to earn to feel worthy, or gosh, I already know I'm worthy. I already know I'm enough. And so I'm going to create from that place. What I started to realize and learn was wherever you're creating from ultimately determined your results.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was a big game changer for me in my life and the people that I've been helping.
Yeah, and on your website, you have very interesting, you have things that people can do that really can get us into, as you say, taking care of ourselves and loving ourselves more. One is you have a 3-minute meditation, and then you talk about journaling. But let's talk about the meditation first. I think people think of meditation as, oh, I have to sit on a mountaintop for an hour and clear my head of everything, which is impossible for most people to
Yeah.
totally clear our mind.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, what I'll say here is we're creating in every moment. And what I've realized, we're either creating more from ego, lack, fear, chaos. I got to go. I got to do. I got a list. I got to, get things done, or from love, truth, your heart, your intuition, peace, your power. And so, again, wherever you're creating from is going to determine your results. And so, the idea here is that if you want to start creating from your power, if you want to start creating from your intuition, from a more calm, regulated nervous system, you have to calm the mind. And in order to calm the mind, you have to slow down. And so, yes, I know some people think, well, I don't have time for self care. I don't have time to journal or to meditate and all these things. But what I like to kind of help people see is like, what if you just made a few minutes a priority to do this? What could be possible if you went into your day regulated, if you went into your day intentional, if you went into your day with your mind calm and sort of on your side of what you want to create? And so meditation is just such a powerful practice for just slowly starting to reprogram the mind that it doesn't have to go 1,000 miles a minute. It's actually the
Yeah.
opposite. The calmer it is, the more you're leading from your heart and your power, the more productive you're going to be as you go into your day. So I have the 3-minute meditation as a way to say, hey, just get started with this. Yes, it's a
Mm,
practice. It takes time to master. You don't have to do it for 3 hours a day. You don't have to do it in this crazy way. Like just start with the 3 minutes. And what I've learned over time, it's the consistency that
mm,
wins the game, not necessarily the length. What happened for me, I resisted it for years, and then I started doing it slowly after a big life transition where I finally was like, okay, I got to start doing this. And then the more I did it consistently, like the smaller amounts, the more I craved it, the more I wanted to do it
mm.
longer and more. And then that's when I started noticing massive transformation in my life. So, yeah.
Do you think that it helped you, Randy, to make clearer decisions? Because when the mind is calmer, often when our mind is racing, we'll make a decision and may not be the right one. It may be that kind of impulse decision.
Yeah. Absolutely. It goes back to you're creating in every moment and where are you creating from? If you're creating from, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta do, I gotta do it. I have to have this. I need this validation. I need to do it now. There's no time. You're creating from chaos. And if you're creating from chaos, you're going to have chaotic results. If you're making those decisions from that place, maybe more of a lower level, you're going to have lower level results. So when you take the time to slow down,
Mm,
calm
mm,
the mind,
mm,
get regulated in your nervous system, what happens is you start to have higher level thoughts, higher level energy, higher level frequency, and then you start making your choices from there. If you kind of start to see where I'm going with this now, then you start to have those types of results. And that's what starts to change everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Another tool that you talk about, and it's in your website under resources, is journaling.
Mhm.
And the question people often ask is, I'm too busy. I don't know what to write. It's just too hard. So talk about journaling and what that can do and how you might get some prompts that can help you.
Yeah, so journaling, I would say, is probably, aside from meditation, my number one tool that has supported me in some of the toughest times. So what's going on inside of us is we all have thoughts, we all have feelings, we all have emotions, we all have trauma, challenges inside. And so what I learned over time is you've got two choices. The stuff is in there, we all have it, it's coming up, whether we like it or not. We either push it back down, which is what causes more chaos in our system. And then ultimately, if we're creating from chaos, we get chaotic results, like I've been saying, right? Or we choose to start looking at it. We choose to start talking to it. We choose to start processing it. Once it comes up and out, you become free of it. That's when you become more clean, clear, and able to make those higher level choices. So, in journaling, what it does is you start to write. And I personally, I'll take anything with people when they're starting. If they want to do it on their phone or their laptop, that's great. But what I've learned is over time, if you take your hand and you're actually writing in your journal, it's an energy movement. It's helping it move out of your body because it all gets stored in the body. And so what's
Mm,
happening is you're asking questions and you're just writing. And what's happened for me is it's helped me truly become my own best friend. Like I also resisted it for years. And now it's like one of my favorite times of my day because I'm hanging out with me. We talk, we chat through things. I allow myself to feel, I acknowledge what's going on. And so, from my perspective, it's one of the most powerful tools out there. And a lot of what I do to help people is I give them prompts. I have some on my website. I have a monthly membership where when you're in the container with me, you get an email every single day with a journal prompt to help you. And you could just take the 5 minutes to sit,
mm,
write the answer down. What you'll start to
yeah.
find is it might feel weird at first, but as the energy starts to move, you start to become more connected to yourself.
Give us a prompt. Just give us an example of a prompt.
What am I feeling right now? What am I afraid of right now? If I knew that I was safe, what would I do next?
Mm,
Right? What else is possible? If I wasn't so scared and I wasn't giving this so much meaning, what would I do now? These are the types of questions that we start to, and so it pulls you out of the story of like, I can't do this or I can't do that or
yeah.
I'm safe to do this, right? There's this idea, this story that it's not safe to face our fears or it's not safe to feel
Mm,
feelings. And what I realized over time is that, fear is an inevitable part of being a human, but when you stop running from fear, it
right.
stops chasing you.
Right.
It
I have
stops
a question.
you
What,
realize it's not scary. Go
yeah,
ahead.
what happens when you're working with someone and they're really trying? I mean, they're doing the meditations, they're doing the journaling, they have a goal and they're really working toward it. And it's frustrating because they're not seeing the results they need and they've been trying and they're hopeful and they're going to keep going, but they get discouraged and they get down. What do you say to people when I'm sure you've heard this before?
Yeah, many times. Um, this is a lifestyle. This is not something you do for 3 weeks and you're healed, 3 months and you're healed, 6 months and you're healed. We're human beings, we're feelers. Again, we have things to process. So, what I help people do first and foremost is see what's going on in their life, accept that there's nothing wrong here. Just because you haven't gotten your goal yet, just because you're not exactly where you think you should be, does not mean anything is wrong. That's an ego-based thought. Okay. So then slowing that part down and starting to, you know, let this be a process. Let this be a journey. What happens is the mind's like, well, that was wrong before, and this needs to happen now. When I have the goal, then I'll feel safe. When I have the thing, then I'll be enough. What I help people do is actually take all of that and release and come back to the present moment. What if you were already safe today, already loved today? Already whole today, already worthy and enough today? What if you had everything you were looking for in that goal within inside of you? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all about intentions and goal setting as a big part of what I do, but again, it's where are you creating it from? If you're trying and trying and trying, and that's exactly what you asked me, what do you do? What do you tell people when they're trying? Well, I encourage them to stop trying and to start being. start being, start slowing down, start to go inward because you already have whatever it is you're looking for in the goal or the result within you. When you realize that, and this is a journey to get there, everything becomes easier. And so now you don't need to try so hard. You don't need it. You're already whole. But then it's all frequency. It's all like law of attraction. So then the things that you want start to come in with more ease and grace. You don't
Mhm.
have to try as hard. And that's when things start to become more fun.
Yeah. Great. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk more to Randy. We'll talk to her about people who are dating and have frustration there. We'll talk about really how you can reach your goals. And again, Randi Halaway is a self-leadership and personal power expert, speaker, and coach, and creator of the Personal Power Way, a transformational framework that helps leaders and entrepreneurs reclaim their inner strength, regulate their nervous system, and lead with grounded confidence. Stay tuned, folks. More with Randi when we come back right after the break. Hi, everyone, and we are back. You're listening to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on voiceamericamedia.com. And my guest is Randi Halaway, who is a self-leadership and personal power expert, speaker, and coach, and creator of the Personal Power Way, where she helps really in a transformational way. She creates a framework that helps leaders and entrepreneurs reclaim their strength, regulate their nervous system, and lead with confidence. Welcome back, Randi. So I asked you a question during the break, and it was such a great answer. I said we've got to do this on the air. You were talking about how to relax and how to not try so hard, and how to really kind of lean into yourself. We talked about meditation. We talked about journaling. So the question that I had is, what about people who are really trying? They're doing all these things you've mentioned, but they really need that job and they're worried about their finances, or they're not well and they're really worried whatever they're trying may not work. So I mean, it could be, or it could be a relationship where they keep trying and trying and nothing they've done is working and they're getting discouraged. What do you say to that?
Yeah, so again, I'll just take it back to the simplicity of this. First and foremost, we are all extremely powerful. Like whether you realize it or not, you are powerful beyond measure. You are creating in every single moment, whether you realize it or not. Okay. Your thoughts are very powerful. Your energy is very powerful, all those types of things. So, yes, life comes with challenge, illness, death, disappointment, heartbreak, challenge with finances, career, relationships, whatever that is. That's a part of being a human. So, what we want to be doing is if we're in a very challenging thing, whether that's a health crisis, financial crisis, relationship crisis, whatever that is. And yes, I hear this often. I've been doing this for a really long time. Randi, you don't understand. If I don't save this relationship, it's going to be over. If I don't do something, I might die. If I don't do this, I'm not going to have money for rent. And I hear it. I understand it. I've been in some challenging moments myself. But the idea here is to remember again that you're very powerful and you're creating in every moment. And wherever you're choosing to create from is determining your results. So I'm going to go back to what I said before. You're either creating from your ego. This is more of a victim. It's happening to me. Oh my gosh, it's all over. It's dramatic. It's chaotic. It's intense, right? Or you're creating from your power, love, truth, intuition. Wherever you're creating from is going to determine your results. So, yes, I can be in a challenge, but if I'm creating from it's wrong, it's happening to me, oh my gosh, it's going to like all of this chaos, I'm just going to get more chaotic results. If I take a second, and I'm just talking about a few minutes here, breathe, regulate the nervous system, get back into my power, the part of me that knows I'm going to navigate this. I always have before. And then now it's more like, okay, I pull out from the challenge, I pull out from the stories and the meanings, and it's like, what else is possible? I'm in this health crisis, I'm in this financial crisis, I'm in this relationship crisis. What else is possible? Now I'm in my power. Now I'm receptive to magic, miracles, opportunities, clarity, guidance. We are all being guided. We all have answers to the questions. Every single one of you listening right now has questions. We're human. We always have questions. What I want to remind you is that you have the answers within you. It's just, are you willing to slow down enough to hear them? Again, when you're trying and forcing and making it happen from the ego, it's pushing the answers and the clarity and the magic and the miracles away. When you slow down, you make regulating your nervous system, no matter what's happening, a priority. What happens is you get into a different frequency. And now you start asking different questions. What else is possible? What am I meant to be learning here? What else can happen? And then an opportunity, idea, clarity. Someone shows up. I want to pay your medical bill. Someone shows up. Oh, I want to give you a job. The right doctor walks in. Oh my gosh, you've been on the wrong medicine. Here's the right medicine.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden you get clarity that's just it's okay that the relationship's not working. It's time to move on. Or all of a sudden that person is like, wow, I finally hear what you're saying. You see where I'm going with this? Like these things can happen. We just have to be willing to get out of the chaotic patterning and get into our power. This is why I speak so much about personal power. If you really just understood how powerful you were, anything can be navigated when you're creating from your heart and your power. Anything possible when you're creating from your heart and your power.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is powerful what you're saying. In also in this piece that you have, which are resources. Again, we talked about meditation, we talked about prompts for journaling, and there's another one about dating, because for people who are single or who are in the dating world, that can be very frustrating. People talk a lot about how online dating is frustrating and maybe more difficult to meet people. Can they trust people in the days, today with social media, we're getting the truth. And you have something called a dating roadmap. So let's talk about that because that's another challenge that people go through.
Big time. So I have that resource stemmed from experiences that I had myself. Basically, everything that I teach comes from experiences that I've had and what I've learned. And so, what that one is about is again, where are you creating from when you're making your dating choices? When you're looking at this is a red flag, that's a red flag, this is wrong, this is right, this is whatever. So, the idea there is again, to similar to what I've been saying, is slow it down, check your protector, check your reactor, check the part of you that's judging, the part of you that is expecting someone else to be perfect, right? Check that first. So then your filter now becomes clear. Because a part of why dating is frustrating is because a lot of people are just coming at you with their past experiences, with their trauma. Oh, you acted
Mm-hmm.
like my ex, we're done. Oh, you acted
Mm-hmm.
like the person I just chatted with on Hinge, we're done here. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, maybe they are, but let's slow the process down to actually see. And that starts with learning how to understand your own fears, your own trauma, your own protection, your own past, healing that, which is a process. That's what I help people with. And then learning how to show up and just be curious. Dating becomes a lot more fun when you're willing to, first and foremost, be responsible for your reactions, your triggers, your trauma, your protection, your no, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. As long as nothing works for you, you're not going to be able to be in a relationship.
Right.
A
Right.
relationship requires compromise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I have learned is that it requires compromise, but it should never require self-sacrifice. So, what this comes down to is really learning how to, again, become skilled at regulating your nervous system, managing your mind, and connecting to yourself so that you can trust. Your body will never lie to you, especially if you're connected to your true self. And then that's what helps you just manage and be more in flow versus, no,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work. This has to be this way, right? That's all
Yeah.
ego. And it blocks us from the magic and miracles that are possible. And so it's like, how can I be more in flow, knowing like I've got me either way? So let me just go and talk to this person, learn about them. If I
Mm-hmm.
feel something a red flag, I look at myself first. Ooh, is this my protector? Maybe it is a little bit. And then I go learn more. And then I realize, okay, maybe that is not going to work for me. And I pass. But I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
it again more from my power versus from
Yeah.
my ego or my protector.
Randy, could you give an example, just an example of someone you've worked with who had those, if you will, images or blocks or perceptions, and after working with you, it shifted? Can you give us an example?
In regards to dating,
In regards to anything, it could be money, it could be health, it could be goals, it could be relationship.
yeah.
Just someone you worked with where you saw a dramatic difference when, what it was, what they did to change, and what the change was.
Yeah, so this is almost everybody that I work with. There's some sort of transformation because what happens is they start with, I can't start this business. I don't feel good enough. I can't make more money because it's too hard. I can't ask this person out because what if I get rejected? It starts with some sort of challenge, whatever that is for them, right? What I do is I help them pull out of the meanings. I pull out of the protection, pull out of those chaotic patterns, learn how to regulate their system. And so what happens is once they're doing that, they're creating from their power, they're just getting totally different results, whether it's like a guy or a gal who shows up that all of a sudden they call me and they're like, I just went on the best date ever. And, I was like leading more from my heart. And then they started opening up their heart. And now we're actually connecting more versus both of us coming in with this protector up. Or all of a sudden, I finally went and launched this program we've been talking about in my work, and I just got a bunch of clients, or I just got 10 people to show up to my first workshop, or whatever that is. And they start to feel more inspired because they're proving to themselves that if they create from their heart, they're supported, that everything's
Mhm.
okay, that they're safe. And that's where the biggest transformations come in. And then the other thing that I hear often is, I used to feel so anxious and so scared. I had a hard time sleeping. I had a hard time even getting through the day. And now I can breathe. I can sleep. I feel calm. I feel more trusting of myself. I would say those types of things are the most transformational results because, again, that's what changes every other area of your life. That's what gives you
Right.
the confidence to go and do the thing that you've been wanting to do the whole time, but you just couldn't because you felt way too anxious and scared to.
Right. But again, you have to be willing to make those changes. You have
Yes.
to be willing to do the inner work. I mean,
Yes,
just saying that and then doing what you did before isn't going to make a difference.
that is very true. Very, very true.
Yeah. So now also you talk a lot about, as you said, people who are overwhelmed and anxious, and it changes because now they feel grounded and full of gratitude. How important is gratitude in this process?
It's huge. It's huge because, again, we're coming back to being present. So remember, we're only promised the present moment, and everything you're looking for in regards to peace, freedom, happiness, joy, love can only exist in the present moment. Okay, so we talk about the past, we talk about healing and resolving the past, we talk about the future in regards to what are your intentions, where you want to go. But at the end of the day, what we really are practicing is how to be present. And gratitude is a huge presence bringing practice because, yes, I have things I'm healing and things I'm moving towards. But at the end of the day, what am I grateful for today is what matters the most.
Right.
I'm grateful for
Right.
my body, for my health. One of the things I'm the most grateful for in my life, which some people think is a little weird, I have a lot of nice things, but I'm grateful for my level of awareness of self, my
Yes.
passion, my fears,
Right.
my obstacles. I'm still human. I'm still working through that because without the awareness, I can't change it.
Right. And
So
and part of that too that you talk about is the negative self-talk. That's something when I'm dumb. Well, I just can't do anything. Oh, I'm an idiot. That doesn't help. That just reinforces the negative.
absolutely. Yeah. So what I do is I help people learn how to have a better relationship fully with themselves, but the aspects of themselves. This is where the deeper work comes in. A better relationship with your mind, your ego, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your trauma, your challenges, your patterning. When you know yourself at a cellular level in this way, these aspects of yourself, you can navigate anything. So what I do is basically teach people how to become high level navigators, becoming a ninja at coaching yourself, showing up for yourself, knowing yourself, responding versus reacting. These are the life-changing pieces because, again, life comes with challenge. That's not going anywhere. This is planet Earth. We all signed up for it, right? It's about how you choose to navigate, respond versus react. That will completely determine the life you have.
Hmm. Yeah. How can people find you? It's randyhalloway.com.
Yes, randyhallaway.com. It's Randy Halloway across the board. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Randy Halloway, and then my website is randyhallaway.com.
It's RandiHalaway.com.
Mhm. Yeah.
All
Yes.
right, great. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more to Randy about, having the life that we want to have by appreciating ourselves, looking at our own self-talk. We'll talk more in depth about that. And also, we'll talk about leadership and how leadership ties into this, whether you're a leader at home or you're a leader at work or you're a leader in both. Randi Halaway is a self leadership and personal power expert, speaker, and coach. She created the Personal Power Way, and this helps leaders and entrepreneurs to reclaim their inner strength and regulate their nervous system and then lead with confidence. Stay tuned, folks. You're listening to the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show right here on Voice America Media, and we'll be right back. Hi, everyone, and we are back. We are talking to Randi Halaway, who is a self leadership and personal power expert, speaker, and coach. And she is the creator of the Personal Power Way. And she helps leaders and entrepreneurs reclaim their inner strength and regulate their nervous system and lead with confidence. So, welcome back, Randi. Now, in order to do all those things, self regulate, lead with confidence, we need to really lean into our own self care. Talk about self care.
Yeah, so self-care is a huge part of my daily practice, but it actually, if we take it one step deeper, it starts with making the decision to start making yourself a priority. I always like to kind of say it's the airplane analogy, right? Like they say it really, really clearly to us. Like if you got to put your mask on first, if you don't have your mask on, how are you going to help other people? So a lot of times what happens is we get really caught up in, again, the hustle, the chaos. I've got kids, I've got a husband, I've got team, I've got family, I've got all these people I need to show up for. But how well do you actually show up for them or show up in your life if you're not showing up for yourself first? And so that's the first step. If you're really looking for transformation in your life, if you're really looking for change in your life, if you're coming into this new year thinking like, I don't want to do it the same way anymore, it starts with that decision like, okay, it's time to start making myself a priority. Because if I don't, nobody's coming in to save me and do this for me, right? So that's the first step, first choice. And then from there, how we start to do that is we practice what I call self care. So having a morning ritual that is consistent for you, that's going to set you up for success as you walk into your day, as you walk into the world, right? So if I get up and I roll out of bed and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got text message, I got Instagram, I got email, all these things, and I'm coming in a little bit like chaotic. And then I'm going on my meeting with you, Patricia, and we're at lunch and all this stuff's going on. And how present am I actually able to be for you? Versus if I slow it down when I get up and I make myself a priority. Take about 5 minutes to journal. How am I feeling? Do I need to clean anything out? Think about it this way, like, would you go a month without washing your dishes? Would you go a month without cleaning your clothes? Would you go a month without washing your body? No. But how long do you go without cleaning your emotional body? And that's what you want to start thinking about. And that's what journaling does. That's what meditation does. That's what visualization does, gratitude does. So, what I do is I have a very specific, what I call self care morning ritual that I practice every single morning. And when I started doing that, that's when my life started to change. So I journal, I meditate, I visualize, I help people do what I call power statements, what gets really clear on what it is you're creating in your life. And we write them down, we think about them, we focus on them, we visualize them. But the whole point of what we're doing here is we're focusing more on what we want to create. So we get more of what we want, but we're also really practicing regulating the nervous system. Because no
Mm,
matter what your goals are, you can have the biggest goals, the biggest intentions. Your nervous system is going to run the show. So if you're wondering why your manifestations aren't happening, what you want to do is look at your nervous system. If your nervous system is still more addicted to chaos and drama and things being hard, you're just going to get more of that. So the hack to really having the life of your dreams is learning how to regulate your nervous system. And that starts with making yourself a priority, practicing self-care. That will equate to starting to heal and regulate your nervous system. So if you do that every day, again, it's consistency that wins the game. Even if you're doing it 10 minutes a day,
right.
in time, it's going to take some time here. So you can't do it for 5 days and then be like, I don't see a result. You got to slow it down and make it a priority. You will start to see results.
Randi, what about how does exercise and eating well, nutrition and diet play, and sleep play into this?
So these are all really important things as well, setting yourself up for success. So I always like to say, turn your phone off at a certain point, get into bed, do gratitude before bed, do a meditation, get good sleep, get up, do your self-care, move your body, eat well, those types of things. It doesn't have to be perfect. This isn't about being perfect. Perfect doesn't exist, right? But yes, those are really important things too.
Yeah, definitely. And also, as you talked about the power statements
Mhm.
that you make to yourself, give us an example of a power statement you might make in the morning.
Well, so what I do with people is if I'm going to work with someone, whether you're in my group or we're working one-on-one, is we first talk about what is your current focus? Because most people have 100 current focuses. You look at their list and their list is like, your arm's length. as human beings, we're not meant to have that much focus. That's partly why you're not getting a lot done, or you're frustrated with yourself and why things aren't getting done, or why you're not attracting what you want. It's too much on your plate. So I encourage people to pick 3 to 5 current focuses in their life. I always say I recommend starting with self-care because it all starts inside. It's all a reflection. Whatever is going on inside is a reflection of outside and both. So making your self-care, your relationship with yourself number one priority. Maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your career, your relationship, your health, hobbies, whatever that is. So picking your areas, and then from there, we create the power statements based on what it is that you want to create in each area. So I help people do that, and we create the statement as if it's already happened. So an example would be, say you want to, make $10,000 a month. This is a very simple one. I'm so grateful to generate $10,000 plus per month with grace and ease. That's a very simple one. You're saying it as if it's already happened and it's happening with ease, and you start to visualize it and say it. So your system starts to be like, oh yeah, like I do make 10K a month or whatever that number is. So now if you're making 2K and you want to get to 10K, then, go 2K to 5K, 5K to 8K, 10K. So you're not blowing your nervous system. But that's the idea. Or I'm so grateful to have this beautiful, connected relationship with myself, to love myself fully, to create from my heart in as many moments as possible, right? So whatever it is that you want to create, we're saying it as if it's already happened. And so that's a part of the ritual as well.
Right. You talk about leadership, and that's one of the things you do is you work with leaders and entrepreneurs. How does leadership tie into all this? Because now it's not just about self, it's about being a role model for other people.
Yeah. So again, no matter where you're at in your life, whether you are a leader at work or in your family or in any area of your life, you are leading yourself. So again, first and foremost, becoming a good leader to yourself is the first key. That is what's going to help you then lead in other areas of your life. So again, I've worked with a lot of people. I managed a salon of 20 plus employees. What I realized in that season is if I came in there and I hadn't led myself and I hadn't taken care of myself, and I'm coming in trying to get people to listen to me and respect me, it's not working. But if I already respect myself and I'm already leading myself and I'm being responsible for myself, and then I come in, my frequency is different. I'm talking to people differently. I'm being present with them. That's what changes everything. Leadership is about actually taking care of yourself first, and then going in and listening to people, paying attention to what they need, what they have going on. That's good leadership. Good leadership is not coming in saying it's my way or the highway. That's not what that is. That's not really leadership. That's just control. So there's something that shifts within, again, but it's learning how to lead yourself first, learning how to show up for yourself first, how to regulate yourself first, how to love yourself first. And then you go in and it's like, okay, what's my intention as I'm leading other people? I'm leading my children, my household, my team, my clients, whatever that is. And then you're just showing up in a totally different way, actually being present, listening to your people. What do they actually need? And then guiding them to what's actually in their highest and what's in the collective highest of whatever that group of people is.
Speaking of collective, you have a heart-centered collective membership. We've got a few minutes left, so share what that is.
Yeah, so I created a membership a few years back called the Heart Center Collective Membership, and it was designed to help people with exactly what we've been speaking about today, to start to finally make themselves a priority, learn how to regulate their nervous system, learn how to love themselves and show up for themselves, navigate their mind, and create from their heart and their personal power. And that's what we do. It's a community of like-minded women. You get an email every single morning helping you to stay accountable to practice your self-care. There's an affirmation, there's mantras, there's journal prompts. There's all sorts of things to help you stay on track. We do a call once a month where I teach on a topic. I've got over 3 years now of, sort of think of them as like podcast episodes, like ones you can just go grab for inspiration. It's got a ton of resources, lists, like things that are just going to help support you. If what I'm speaking about today is if you're like, yeah, I need to start doing that, but I don't know where to start. And it's hard because we're not meant to do this work alone. This is a really good place to start because it's very loving. It's a warm container. And we're just like there to welcome you and support you in staying consistent with this.
Thank you.
That's a really beautiful thing.
You also have a podcast,
I don't have my own podcast.
but you're on many other
I'm on,
podcasts.
yeah. So I have a podcast page that has a lot of interviews that I've been on, yeah.
Yeah, which is great. Closing thoughts, Randi. What do you want to leave our listeners with today?
I would say that even if life feels hard right now, or if what I'm speaking about feels attainable, just to know that, again, like you have everything that you're looking for inside. Nothing is wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. There's nothing actually going wrong. And if we can pull out of those meanings and start to remember who you really are, connect more to your power and your heart, literally anything and everything that you could ever desire is possible. And I know that from personal experience. So that's what I would love for people to know.
Thank you. And people can find you at randihalaway.com, RandiHalaway.com.
If you want to learn about the membership, it's on there. If you want to just reach out and do a phone call and see if maybe working together deeper and one-on-one, that's an option as well. So I'm happy to answer any emails or DMs of questions anyone has.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really inspiring. Thank you for uplifting our listeners and me and all of us. And again, people do contact Randi at randihalaway.com. All right. Thanks so much, Randi. Um, Stay on the line for a minute. All right, folks, that wraps up this edition of the Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show. If you'd like to find me and you'd like to get a copy of my newsletter, every month I have my guests listed on my newsletter. Randi was in it this month. And just write to me, Patricia at patriciaraskin.com, and I'll put you on the list. Also, if you would like to get your positive message out in a podcast, I've interviewed over 6,000 people in my career, and I'd love to help you do that. So I can help you put it all together, and you contact me again, Patricia at patriciaraskin.com. Remember, stay healthy, stay happy, get the support you need, and know you can make your dreams come true. Until next time, I'm Patricia Raskin. Bye for now.